What's up, guys? It's Lord Both here for another video, and Sinners is making a historic run at the box office. This comes to us from The Wrap, entitled Sinners continues remarkable box office run with $45 million in its second weekend. Warner Bros. Sinners continued its incredible run at the box office this weekend with a $45 million total that is a mere 6.2% drop from its $48 million opening weekend. I think the total drop for like week over week, something like 32%, something like that. So again, still in the very minority of films. It's doing tremendous. And it's getting both critical and audience praise. It crossed the $100 million domestic mark just after 9 days in theaters and is well on pace to become just the fourth horror film to ever gross $200 million before inflation adjusted. This is the smallest second weekend drop for any film with a $40 million plus opening since the historic box office run of Avatar in 2009. And if we just go over to Box Office Mojo here, we can see that the film has done $161, almost $162 million worldwide. Meaning that yes, this thing is well on its way to making $200 million. It's an undisputed victory for Warner Bros., which took a risk on Sinners with its $90 million budget that has paid off big for both the studio and the theaters. Yeah, quite a return on investment there for a $90 million budget film. And yes, this is the way you make money. You gotta take risks on certain things, and Warner Brothers bet right in this case. And let's be honest, they definitely bet wrong enough. You want to talk about companies that have 9 lives. Warner Brothers is that guy. Because even as the article says here, thanks to Sinners and Warner's video game blockbuster, a Minecraft movie, every weekend this April has seen overall totals of well above $100 million. And they need every penny, trust me. Prior to this month, there were only 2 weekends that cleared that mark. I assume they mean 2 weekends just for Warner Brothers. And that would make sense because Warner Brothers didn't really have anything massive coming out. Again, this company is wild, man. I've said it once, I'll say it 100 times. Warner Brothers had the biggest grossing movie of 2023 and the highest grossing video game of 2023, and they still lost money for the year and ended up deeper in debt for the year. One thing can be certain though, I don't really want to hear from any of the people who are crying that people don't want to turn out for a movie because it has an all-black cast, or mostly black cast, or stars strong black leads. Because this movie, while it wasn't an indie movie, it was definitely a movie that was a big risk for the company. It was an original story, whether or not you want to say that the plot is heavily borrowed from Dusk Till Dawn, but it had its own original motif and subtext to it that went a little bit beyond white man bad. And people seem to be turning up in droves to see it, mostly because, again, of good word of mouth. In this day and age, word of mouth is king. You need it to survive, and this film definitely has it. One movie I can tell you right now, which also will star a black lead and will be about vampires, that just by reputation alone right now, and I mean reputation of both the company making it and the troubles it's had in production already, doesn't seem like it would be a success ever now at this point. And of course, I'm talking about the Blade movie. Because, and this comes to us from IGN, it's entitled, "It really does sound like whatever Mahershala Ali's Blade movie was going to be is dead." Because not only was the film taken off the schedule calendar for its release a couple months ago, now people who actually were supposed to work on the project are starting to come out in interviews and drop little hints. One of these people is a rapper that goes by the name of Flying Lotus, in which he stated in an interview, quote, "I guess we are so far from it even being a possibility now, but yeah, I was signed on to write music for the new Blade movie before it fell through. Maybe it will come around again, but I doubt it. Would have been fun though." You even have the costume designer for Sinners Ruth E. Carter coming out and saying that she was actually supposed to do the costume design for Blade, but then the movie fell through. Even one of the actors that was supposed to star in the film, Delroy Lindo, stated, quote, "When Marvel came to me, they seemed to be really interested in my input. And in the various conversations I had with producers, the writer, and the director at the time," he says the director at the time because this thing has changed director hands several times now, "it was all leading into being very inclusive." That's probably when the plot was supposed to focus around Blade's daughter. And it was going to be very female focused, right? Which they've now backed out of that idea. But to be fair, they backed out of pretty much every idea. He goes on to state, "It was really exciting conceptually, but it was also exciting in terms of the character that was going to form. And then, for whatever reason, it just went off the rails." Well, it went off the rails because Marvel doesn't know how to do the very basic plot of Blade. Good guy Daywalker vampire kills other vampires. That's it. That's the plot, really. That's all you really need to have in a Blade movie for it to be successful. And Marvel, they can't do that. Yet somehow, Sinners is able to give us a movie about killing vampires that stars a black lead and predominantly black cast that has a very deep and rich story beyond just that, and is delivered so well to the point where it's experiencing so much more financial success than they probably could ever dream of. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, go and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, I appreciate you watching all of it, and we'll talk to you again later.